Now, I will admit to anybody, I am not ashamed of it. I am not great at eyebrows. I do my best, but I'm not great at it. So I thought, what would be the easiest way to put eyebrows on a baby that wouldn't be too painful to watch? And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna Prisma pencil those eyebrows. And if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, is there is some messy paint that didn't get wiped off before bake underneath her chin. And when I took it off, it left a little spot. So I'm gonna have to do a little blushing there to kind of camouflage it. Everything else looks pretty good though. So I thought, you know, pencils are easy. It's hard to find the right color that you need. These two colors have served me well. I don't use them often. I've had them a really long time. And I get them nice and sharp. And I also use this kind of beigey pencil if I want to do blonde. Again, don't use it very often, but since we're here, I thought let's go for it. So I think I've said on another video, when you're painting eyebrows, you can feel a brow bone here. It's this little bit that kind of sticks up. And the eyebrows kind of go on there. They don't go up here, they don't go down here, they just go right across there. So what I like to do is make what I call a little cheater line, because it's sometimes hard to see when you're putting on eyebrows. So I just put a cheater line on with a pencil, and I look at it and I say, are those both in the same place? Sort of. You don't want your eyebrows to come way in the middle. Remember, there is an eyeball space between your eyes and your eyebrows. Some people do this little trick where they go from the corner of the eye up and they make a dot, corner of the eye up and they make a dot, and then they do the same thing at the edge of the eye, so you know where the eyebrow stops. That's a good trick. Some babies are born with a lot of eyebrows. They're born with very generous eyebrows, but for the most part, most babies are not born with very many. Most babies are born fuzzy, if anything, not really hairy. Although I have seen hairy babies, but that's something different. So if you want to make your baby super hairy, that's fine. And I think babies with a lot of hair are beautiful. But I'm going to do kind of some lighter eyebrows, mostly because I hate doing them. And if I use that as an excuse, I feel better about myself when I go to bed at night. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to sweep them up to that cheater line. So I'm just drawing these little tiny skinny eyebrows. Right up to the cheater line. I'm going light. I can always darken them in if I feel like it, but you know, better to come back and go another round than to erase them, because your poor baby looks like it has a caterpillar growing on its face. Okay. Now what I like to do is texture those later. So what I'm going to do is bake these eyebrows on. I don't know if baking Prisma pencil sets it or not. I don't know why it would, but I do it because it feels like it can't hurt. And I've got heat set paint underneath there. And I just kind of have this little hope that it's bonding with that paint under there. And it'll help them set a little bit. So I'm just gonna bake them like would normally bake a baby to 265 for 7 minutes. And then when they come out, I'm gonna put a little bit of varnish over them when I varnish the hair. Now, I know people who do absolutely beautiful eyebrows, and I envy them so much. But I just have an eyebrow block. I mean, I understand what they're supposed to look like and what direction they're supposed to go and where to start and stop them. But for some reason, when I'm done, I just don't have the eyebrow magic touch. Since I showed you how I penciled them in, maybe I'd show you how I paint them in. And I'm just using the same paint that I use for hair painting. And a very, very thin brush. And I may have made a bad brush choice, but I'll just work with it. And all I'm doing is exactly what I did with the pencil. So I made a cheater line with my pencil, so I knew where to start and where to stop. And I'm just putting very faint eyebrows on. And I will seal these with matte medium too. And I'll bake these in just a minute. So hot today. Summer came late. And I got some good hours out here in the studio today. I'm so excited. My daughter came over and she's hanging out with her brother and they're having a good time. My other son is in New York. He should be home tonight. I miss him like crazy. Can't wait to hear all his stories. We did a photo shoot out there. And hung out with his friend Stefan. He's a really cool guy. They met on the set of the show. Stefan was on the show also, very early on. And they just hit it off. There we go. Just super, super easy. I don't put a whole lot of energy into that, or else I'll just drive myself crazy. I have to give myself permission for this to not be the thing that, you know, steals my sunshine today. These are probably a little darker than they need to be, but I figure once I root hair, everything changes a bit. I have, I'm gonna go in and make some dinner for everybody pretty soon here. This day just flew by, oh my gosh. It's so weird. You ever have days like that? I've been sitting out here geeking out and then I just woke up and day's gone. And look at Brooklyn with her eyebrows on and her dark hair. Oh my gosh, this baby is adorable. So let me get rid of my hair paint real quick. So I'm not gonna hair paint and I'm such a klutz that I'll knock it over. Let me put it over there. And I have some matte medium and pencil shavings and everything's a mess, but you know, that's just the way it goes. So I have some Genesis Heat Set matte varnish, and I have a brush that, I think it's a nylon brush, but it's a little bit more firm than a brush I would normally use because I want some of that brush texture to show up on my head. I could cut this with scissors now that I'm thinking about it. I could cut it with scissors to give it more texture, but I'm not going to right now because I only got a little bit of time before I have to make dinner and I want to get these dolls varnished. Now I don't say I don't because you never know what I'm going to do, but today I'm not going to varnish the whole baby. I am just going to varnish this head, bake them, and then later on I will varnish the whole baby after I do all the toenails and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just following the line of the hair with paintbrush. Now when this bakes, it's not going to have as much texture as it does right now. I wish it did. And I love how varnish brings out that color. I wish it stayed like that after you baked, but unfortunately it's not going to. And I've tried adding different things to it to make it a little bit more shiny. What I'm going to do is when I varnish and seal these babies up, I'm going to do a mix of this matte varnish, some satin varnish, and tint it a little bit. Do the whole baby, and I'll put another coat over the head. Try not to do it too thick because you don't want that kind of dry, crusty look either. Sometimes this doesn't cure very well if it's really, really thick. But I do love it when these lines show up. It just makes it look like that's real hair a little bit more. And then as soon as I get this on, I will do her eyebrows real quick. I'm gonna get a thinner brush. I'm gonna dip it in the matte medium. And I'm just gonna brush this on the direction. Don't rub it. Don't go hard on this. Don't put too much because you don't wanna take off that pencil. Even though you baked it, that doesn't mean it's on there forever. This is gonna seal it on there though. No worries, this will keep it from coming off. And again, just brush it on the direction that you drew those eyebrows or painted those eyebrows. And this isn't gonna be shiny when we're done, so don't worry. It's actually gonna be the opposite of shiny. And then I get a toothpick, and I'm just gonna run that toothpick lightly over some of those eyebrows. And it will actually remove some of that varnish. Don't worry, we're not removing a lot. And then when you bake, you'll notice a slight texture, not a lot, it won't be totally noticeable, but it'll have more texture. Let me just give you a peek at these other babies before we move on. Look at this Bryson. Could you just eat his face with a spoon? Isn't that the cutest baby ever? Look at him. His painting turned out really great too. I can't wait to get him all eyelashed up and moisten those lips. Red that you want, like little Darren here, he's way too pink. We need to darken up his lips, but he's turning out super cute. Isn't he adorable? Oh my goodness. Look at that. Yay. He's pretty fair. And then we have this baby over here, and she turned out kind of cute. She's very dolly, you know what I mean? How some babies look very realistic and some babies just look like cute little dollies. Well, she's a cute little dolly. Can't wait to see her with eyes. I hope I have some eyes in her size that are unusual color. I don't want to just go with baby blue and try to go that route. I want something like an ice blue or a hazel or a green, something crazy. So let me go look in my eyeball drawer and see what I have in that size.